Agatha, did you like the film?
Yes, this film is very exciting.
And you know that there is still a book.
Wow, tell me about it, please.
Today we will talk about Markus Zusak
And his book, The Thief Book. Markus Zusak is an Australian writer with Austria and German roots.
He was born in Sydney, Australia.
He studied English and history at the University of New South Wales, from which he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts and a Diploma of Education.
Markus Zusak began his career writing young adult fiction.
Lera, what is the genre of this book?
This is historical novel.
Writing style consists of narrative entry in each book, short purposeful fragments and paragraphs, blurring of lines between fact and fiction, much of what is being written right now defies classification until critics have the advantage of time to place it in perspective.
And what is the plot of this book?
The book Thief tells the story of Lizelle, a little girl who is taken to a new home because her mother can't afford to take care of her.
My name is Liesl Memminger. I don't have a family, or even a place to call home.
The story is told by Das, who becomes a character you come to respect and even feel sorrowful by the end. The narration puts an odd perspective on the story. Much of what Das says is very philosophical and even beautiful.
The book Thief is set in Nazi Germany at the start of the Second World War. On the journey at her new home, Lizelle's younger brother dies, and she steals her first book, The Gravedigger's Handbook. When she arrives at her new home, she suddenly has a new mama and papa.
Come, meet your new parents.
From now on, you call me Mama.
Haunted every night by nightmares of her brother's death, Lizelle and her papa set themselves the challenge of reading the book, Lizelle's last link to her brother.
And what is the structure of this book?
The structure consists of point of view death, relation to meaning, as death is a huge part of the novel. It would only make sense for Death himself to narrate.
Plot structure consists of exposition. The main protagonist, Lizelle, is introduced to us. Her brother had died on the way to their foster parents, and the Holocaust Nazi Germany is revealed as a historic backdrop. Inciting incident. Lizelle is adopted by the Hubermans. Events contributing to rising action. As Lizelle adopts to her new life with the Hubermans, she makes friends out of Rudy and eventually Max. As the Holocaust and later, show more content.
And what about characters?
Death, the collector of souls, arrayed in any or all the world's color when it comes, narrates the story of a young girl coming of age during the horrific times of Nazi Germany and the Second World War.
Liesl Memminger. The protagonist of the story is an adopted girl on the verge of adolescence. Liesl not only cares about specific people in her life, she cares about justice in general, and feels frustrated and angry at the injustice. Liesl's early experience with loss motivates her, and she is able to channel her anger to stick up for herself as well as others, as when she beats up a classmate for making fun of her, then later protects him when he is hurt at the bonfire.
Hans Habermann. If Lizelle is the novel's moral center, her father Hans is its heart. Generous, kind, and patient, Hans is immediately sympathetic and remains that way to the end. As a father figure to Lizelle, he represents paternal self-sacrifice and the wisdom of experience.
Rudy Steiner. Rudy is kind and loyal, specifically when it comes to Lizelle. He clearly cares about her, and he often sticks by her side and tries to protect her if necessary.
Max Wanderbach, a Jewish first fighter who takes refuge from the Nazi regime in the Habermans' basement. He is often conflicted between his desire to stay alive and his wish to make life easy for the Habermans by living, but ultimately he knows living would likely mean his death.
Major themes includes The power of words. Watson stories hold tremendous value in the novel, which suggests that they are among the most powerful ways in which people connect with one another. Numerous examples of the ways words connect people turn up throughout the story.
The kindness and cruelty of humans. The novel shows the varying degrees of people's kindness and cruelty from the slight to the most extreme examples. Among the small acts of kindness we see are Ilse Hammond's invited Liesel into her library. On the other hand, we see similar acts of cruelty such as Victor Chammel's and Fran's daughter's treatment of Rudy.
The dualities of Nazi-era Germany. From the moment Rudy paints himself black to emulate jazz owners, we see that characters often have two faces or sides.
The responsibility of the living to the dead. Because many of the characters in the novel have lost family members, many wrestle with the survivor's guilt of continuing to live while their loved ones do not. Motives consist of books and writing. Books and writing figure prominently in the novel, and several characters' lives are changed or affected in some way by one or the other. Books ironically recite the fake identity card that helps him survive.
Darkness. At the beginning of the book, Das observes that people generally only notice color at dawn and dusk. In other words, the end and beginning of darkness. Darkness, symbolizing ignorance and despair, figures prominently throughout the book.
The act of stealing appears repeatedly in the novel, beginning with Liesel taking the book dropped by the gravity right at the start.
What is the conflict of this book?
Type of conflict: character versus society. Values embodies in conflict: Liesel versus the Nazi Party.
Thematic significance of conflict. Liesel's indirect conflict with the Nazi Party prevents her from openly reading books, as well as having her father killed. Symbols. Liesel's relationship to books. It's not the books themselves that are symbolic, but how Liesel relates to them. Her first encounter with a book, for instance, comes just after her brother dies. She is essentially powerless at this moment, and accordingly she is unable to read the book. Giving bread is an act of selflessness in the novel, and it represents the kindness that people are capable of. When Max is hiding in the storeroom, his friend brings him bread to help keep him alive.
So, this book inspired me a lot, and I'm amazed at the courage and kindness of the heroes, and it's great to know that true friendship still exists. So I read this book in one breath, and I read it several times.
The book is simply magnificent. The language seems to be simple, but very beautiful epithets and descriptions. This book will definitely stay in my heart for a long time. I recommend reading this book to everyone. The book has short chapters, so it reads in one breath. This is really an incredible book.
This book was sorted into many quotes and sayings.
He does something to me, that boy. Every time. At his only detriment. He steps on my heart. He makes me cry. I have hated words, and I have loved them, and I hope I have made them right. So much good, so much evil, dusted water. When she came to write her story, she would wonder when the books and the words started to mean not just something, but everything.